Okay. Hello, everybody. It's me, Francisco, here for Sports Goofs number 222, joined by my good buddies Andrew and Charles here. Let's see. It's been 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's been 3 weeks actually, because we missed last week because everybody was busy. So we're back this week. A few things have happened ever since, and with baseball, with NBA, with a bunch of stuff. So I think we should really just dive into baseball, I think, right, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty. Well, in any case, how are you doing, Andrew?
Doing all right. How about you guys?
Charles, how you doing?
Mr. Trujillo went to Washington for a work summit.
Yeah.
So I was gone for about 4 or 5 days, and no, I did not go and venture and tour. You get too tired when you're in very dense conferences. You guys know how it is. I ate, sure, but I also didn't want to spend more money than I wanted to outside of food and libations, because you got to pay for an Uber to go to the Lincoln Memorial. There was no time to go to the Washington Monument. I love the Lincoln Memorial. It's one of the most beautiful things I've seen in my life. It was the only time I felt insignificant when it didn't involve a woman or video games. I was past the White House in an Uber, and I snuck a pic at it. Political opinion aside, it was an interesting aesthetic to see them on the 250 wrappings onto it. So I figure, just for the aesthetics, you guys might like it too. So I sent it to the group chat, and I gotta say, I don't know, and you guys have all recently traveled because Andrew was in Alabama.
True.
We
were all out of town in sub-capacity for
for a bit. So I'm only going to say this once, and I hope that, and this is the problem when we're in audio recordings, and it's going to be the annals of history. As much as I've hated so much of deregulation of certain things, and we're all going to die because we eat bacon and eggs now and all this other stuff, fuck off, RFK Jr. 1, and that's the only curse word I'll do today. I kind of like the fact that I can go through airport security without having to take off my shoes and feel that nastiness on the floor. I'm just saying, it is smoother now for all intents and purposes, because I don't even care about the scanning and stuff like that. I'm do what you want to do. It's fine. But it was always the gotta do this, gotta do that. And then there's my bare feet or, socks. And you never wear, because I would never even venture wearing flip-flops. Free, oh, we don't care about any of you human beings, and we're just gonna back these air flight companies when they have bad stuff and not do standard and conditioned stuff. But I appreciate not having to have my feet out contaminating or being contaminated with the millions and millions of people who go through the airports on a daily basis. So yay, I guess. But it was good. My flight, as you guys know, got delayed several times. But I'm refreshed, I'm rejuvenated, ready to get back to work. Not really, right? We're never ready to get back to work. But happy to be here.
Couldn't take any. I don't know if the Nationals were even in town there, but
yeah, because where I was, it's just okay, I could, but then as I also got older, it's the same way how we feel about our own sports stuff. Unless it's a really big planned trip amongst people, I can just watch it TV. You'll laugh. I watched SummerSlam Part 2 because my flight got delayed so many times on Sunday. At no fault of their own. There was just inclement weather and all the cabin people were there at times. So I just get into the hotel bar to get food, and I just put on SummerSlam Part 2, and I just stayed there in brain rot watching it as I'm talking to all these people. There's a lot of people like wrestling in DC, right? So that was interesting.
I mean, they're doing wrestling and UFC matches on the White House lawn, so.
I know, right? But here's the thing. We know in wrestling, you can be a fake tough guy, and it's acting, right? We're not doing a cage for the brevity of time. SummerSlam was okay, Part 1 and Part 2. I liked it. There were some returns, go from there, but that might be for next week as I see it play out. But yeah, and then UFC is just tough guys who beat women most of the time. Fake tough guys who beat women. Ooh, sorry, Dana White, just stop doing it. What a reprehensible human being. That's all I'll say. Continue.
Mm-hmm. I had my trip to Texas. I mean, let's start with this. Let's start with our trip. So, Charles, went to DC, and I went to Texas. Gosh, man, the Houston Astros ballpark is the worst ballpark I've ever been to. I cannot hide how much disdain I had while exploring their stadium. It was... I know it's like a 25-year-old building, but still, it was fairly disappointing to see it. AC at the upper deck was not on point for whatever they were trying to do up there. But I didn't sit in the upper deck. I sat in the lower bowl, and I watched my Marlins lose to the Astros in the midst of their 12-game losing streak. But that really wasn't what was coloring my opinion of that ballpark. First impressions matter. I know Houston's super hot right now. All of Texas is super hot right now. I get it. There was that meme from that weatherman. Like there was like 100 million degrees in one city. And it's like everybody in that city is dead. That's what it felt like in Houston and in Arlington as well. But still, it's just kind of walking around the Astros ballpark, which is in downtown Houston. It's in the middle of the city. But downtown Houston itself as a city is terrible. There's really not really anything to do. It's not, it's super hot. Nobody's doing anything in the summer, that's for sure. And just walking around, I took pictures with Craig Biggio's statue and Jeff Bagwell's statue, and kind of going through some of that Astros history a little bit there. And they have one end of their ballpark where they're showcasing some of their retired numbers and notable people and players throughout their history. But just walking around the rest of the ballpark, you kind of tell like I think it's the second smallest footprint in baseball, so there's not really a lot that they can expand with in that ballpark. But it's besides that, they got the train up there in left field, and I'm sure maybe with the roof open it would have looked a little better, but still didn't wow me as well. And first impressions matter, guys. And I walked around the ballpark, was trying to get to my seating area, and I saw roaches. I saw roaches in the seating area. So I'm sure every one of these stadiums has pests and roaches and rats and whoever, and I'm sure they all have, pest control up the wazoo and spend money on that. But whatever the Astros are doing was not working, because I saw roaches and it just didn't look good. It wasn't a great first impression for a ballpark, because I'd never seen that at any other ballpark.
They've won like 3 World Series, man.
They've won 2. Astros with one of them.
Asterisk one, but they've appeared in several finals, and you would think that you would pump in something to deserve it.
That, or they're going to use it as an excuse, say, hey, like we don't have enough money to maintain this place, and we need a few $100 million more to update the AC and the roof and all these other things. So that's probably what we're gonna do, because that building is 25 years old, and I'm sure they're nearing. Or the Astros will do what the Braves did and just be like, well, we can't be here no more. We're going to move out to the suburbs and have our own little ballpark district all to ourselves. So I think that is probably what the plan is going to be, especially now that the Astros are more popular, more successful than they've ever been. So there is that. But Andrew, Tropicana Field is better than Daikin Park right now. The repaired Tropicana Field is better than Daikin Park. I am putting that on the record. I've already done it, but yes. So we both went.
I will take that win.
Because we both went.
Another point for America's ballpark.
We both explored this year the renovated, well, not renovated, but repaired and rejuvenated. I think that's probably a better word. Tropicana Field, and it was clean, right? It was, I'm sure, all that flood water, it's got to be clean, right? The roof was on point, the lighting, the food, the atmosphere, like the AC, it was all on point. But I did find Tropicana Field to be more pleasant than what Houston had on offer. So bottom, yeah, it's the last one, that's for sure right now. Then I visited Globe Life Park or Field, I don't know what they call it now. but Globe Life something in Arlington. So Texas Ranger Stadium, it's massive. It's huge. It's everything's bigger in Texas. That's what it is. It's a giant warehouse that has a baseball stadium inside of it, but a very bland baseball stadium. Okay, it's very mid, and it's also mid as far as my rankings are of the 12 ballparks I've been to so far. So it's like, hey, I'm glad they have it because the heat in Texas is awful, and I can't imagine them doing that for that long. Sheesh, like 50 years, basically now, without a dome stadium. And the Rangers somehow got through it, but their current ballpark is great. They've got all these modern amenities, like you can pick up your food and you can just kind of go to like these self-service things. It's very automated. It's the newest ballpark in baseball right now, so a lot of innovations are happening there. So that was nice. AC was on point in every part of the ballpark. They have one section, once again, that's talks about their history, but you look at Texas Rangers baseball history and you realize they were awful for a very long time. Like there was really not much to say between 1972 and like 1995. The Rangers were just awful. They had Nolan Ryan, and that was basically it. So there's some stuff to him, and then their rest of the history happened, and then recently they've been good enough. They have a statue for their American League Championship win. That's how desperate they were for some actual history that they have a statue for that outside their ballpark. Obviously, they are parading that World Series trophy. They have it right there on display for everybody to take a photo with, so they're gonna milk that for all it's worth, even though it's one of the most forgettable World Series that we can think of since the turn of this millennium. And I don't think I'm alone in saying that, right, guys?
I've literally harbored that for a bit in this. In 2020s, there was 3 forgettables. That one, for sure. Derek's gonna hit me for this, but I thought the Braves World Series was forgettable. But 4, the Texas Rangers one, where they just did a quick ball and relaunch. And I would also say the Dodgers, a few of them have been, forgettable. It's just because of what they built. And some people are gonna fight me on it. But their Mickey Mouse one against the Rays, I think, was forgettable. Partially because, of the COVID era. But my opinion is a champion's a championship. But, no offense, Andrew, don't get your nuts twisted here. That was not a great Tampa Bay roster, even though you represent the AL, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, it could have been better. Although I do think we still could have won.
Took them 6 games.
It was a winnable series.
If not for polling Blake Snell when he was dealing, if of all times to have him dealing and not listen to the algorithm, it's that game. And I'm sure Kevin Cash probably still regrets that. He has to. What would have if I left him for 2 more innings? What would have happened, right? So
it's the opposite of whatever his name is, the manager for the Red Sox in 2003.
Oh, Grady
left Pedro in too long.
Mm-hmm.
Here was I see where Cash was coming from because 1 hit turns to 2, turns to whatever. I can see why he made the decision. I think he pulled the trigger a little bit too early. I feel like 1, maybe 2. I don't remember how many hits it was, but I feel like if it had gotten to the point where he gave up a run, then you make the move because that was a tight game. But I think he pulled it a little bit too early. And, like you said, as much as algorithms and sabermetrics have taken over the game, for a good reason. I think it is relevant, and it has made scouting and personnel decisions better. I still think there's ultimately some bit of intangibles that you have to account for, and if you don't listen to them, then you're missing out on a whole facet of play that that computers or statistics can't tell you.
Yeah. Well,
But
yeah.
I think we could have won that, but it wasn't overly depressing that we did, because I kind of saw the writing on the wall after he got pulled, after Snell got pulled.
Well,
But whatever. I do think, and I think I've said this before, but I do think that until Cash wins a World Series, that is still going to hang over his head. I mean, it'll still hang over his head no matter how successful he does, but it'll definitely be a massive drag on his reputation until he can exorcise the demons and win the whole thing, even if it isn't with Tampa.
Yeah. Well, let me finish up my thing on the Texas Rangers. Like I said, mid ballpark. There's nothing to see. Like when you sit in your seats, it's just swaths of seats, and you guys have seen it on TV. It's a very boring ballpark. Obviously, it's in Arlington. It's in the middle of just a giant, massive parking lot, next to the Cowboy Stadium, next to Six Flags, and next to their old ballpark. They have a small little ballpark village that they have next to it. It's there, but you're planning a baseball trip, try and hit up both cities quickly, but you're not really going to be spending much time around their ballparks or anything like that, because Houston, it's too hot and there's nothing to see around it, and the ballpark itself is not that great. And then the Rangers, it's like, okay, it's nice, it's got these bells and whistles of some things, but once you sit in your seats, there's no view, there's nothing. It's just, all right, there's a baseball field down there and just a bunch of people just sitting there watching and eating, and that's all it is. They just turned into a giant boring mall. If you're gonna plan a baseball trip, I wouldn't go out of my way for Texas. You try to hit up both cities at the same time and just kind of forget it afterwards. So that's my review of the Texas ballparks, and I'll be planning my next trip. I'm not sure where. I don't know, a northeast trip to hit up New York and Boston and all those places, maybe, but or do the Midwest or do the big one in California, but Texas.
I'm gonna go to Fenway Park next month against my will. Thanks, Batten. Going up there for the wedding. You
guys have the Red Sox have been let back into being good. Now the Astros are doing it again. We're gonna have all of the reasons for this lockout to happen. You're gonna have the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Astros and the Dodgers and the Braves and the Cubs, all the big market teams and the Phillies. They're all gonna make it with all these super high payrolls, and it's gonna force this lockout to happen. Come hell or high water, we're gonna have a canceled season just like the NHL. And my tinfoil hat is fully on right now, but we'll talk about that later. Andrew, you went to Alabama.
Yes, I did go to Alabama. I went to Montgomery, Alabama.
Have you been there before?
Capital.
Like Alabama in general?
I have not been. Yes, I have been to Alabama once. My cousin used to live in Alabama and insisted that we were living in Miami at the time. Insisted that we evacuate to Alabama and get out of the way of a hurricane. Which one? I don't remember. I just remember it was one of the ones from 2017. I think we would have been okay. There wasn't a whole lot of damage where we were living. The power did go out, which that would have been a pain in the ass. So for that alone, it was worth it. But that was the only time prior to this that I'd been to Alabama. And that was Dothan, which is closer to Troy. It's more south in the state. Montgomery's a bit more central. Montgomery is a very, very interesting city. I didn't think it at the time, but it is a place that I want to go back to because I didn't have enough time to explore what I wanted to explore. I'm a bit of a history buff, and I got there on a Saturday, left early Monday, so everything was closed. But they have a ton of museums there. They have civil rights museums, Rosa Parks Museum, a memorial or monument to the Montgomery to Selma trail is there, which is all stuff that I really like. But I love is an odd word for it, but I find it funny, the dichotomy between having that and then they still have the first White House of the Confederacy, and it's all like emblazoned proudly. Like, this is, and I did not know this, but apparently the capital of the Confederacy was in Montgomery before it moved to Virginia. And I find that so weird and interesting that these two completely diametrically opposed things coexist in the same city. And it's the one museum that I did go to see because it was open. And the only reason I didn't really go out of my way because it was connected to my hotel was the Hank Williams Museum. For those who don't know. So if you remember, are you ready for some football? Back in the 90s, before he went all MAGA, before MAGA was a thing, that was Hank Williams Jr., the country singer. His father, Hank Williams, was kind of one of the first big country stars. And we're talking mid-40s to early 50s before he drank himself to death at the age of 29. Yeah, he lived in Montgomery for a while, and there's this family that has created a little storefront right in the middle of downtown Montgomery, where it's a ton of Hank Williams memorabilia. They have, this is pretty morose, they have the car that he died in on display. Apparently he was driving from one concert venue to another, and his heart gave out in the back seat. He was being driven by someone. So somehow and for some reason they decided, you know what, we're going to get his death car and put it inside of our museum. And no, this is not my non-sponsor. I am not my non-sponsor is not the Hank Williams Museum in Montgomery, Alabama. Death car.
I got to sit in it.
No. You are not. You can't touch anything in that museum, which I get it. I mean,
Hank
some
Williams
of that stuff
was about to hit us with a lawsuit on that. Even though I was going to say he's a racist, which he is, but you know.
That was interesting. I mean, I kind of felt obliged to go visit because I was born in Oklahoma, one of the capital, or not the capital, that would be Nashville, but Oklahoma is pretty country. So I was like, okay, I'll go in. Would I go again? Nah, probably not. Unless you're it was crazy. There were people in there that were posing and taking a family picture, like 10 of them, in front of the death car. That's actually would be a really badass name for a band, Death Car. But yeah, I did not realize that people would be so interested. Yeah, I didn't realize he was such a cult figure. About a little over 70 years after he died, he didn't really have that long of a career. But I digress. The other interesting thing is the Montgomery Biscuits, who are the AA team in Montgomery, which I still hold a grudge against them because they were the Orlando Rays minor league baseball team back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I saw a lot of O-Rays games, and my beloved was stolen from me in 2004 to move up to Montgomery to become the Biscuits. Their stadium apparently is next to or is partially built on a Confederate military prison. It was so weird. I'm walking around. It is a very walkable downtown. It is very walkable. But, you know,
Hello?
Andrew cut out. I thought that was just me. Like, oh crap,
No.
my connection went down again. But Andrew, you're gone here. If you can't hear
I
us.
was like, they got us. We were insulting
Hank Williams got us.
Jr. and I attacked RFK Jr. The juniors were contending together.
Maybe he was on his phone and it died on him.
Possibly. I mean, I see him in the chat.
Yeah.
Now he's out. So
Okay.
I guess
Well,
we'll pivot a bit. Well, to add on to the Hank Williams, I actually know some of his songs. Not Junior. I don't care about that. First off, we're going to talk football for 2 seconds. If I need a Monday Night Football anthem to love and cherish and get ready for football, we're doing it wrong. That might be the most controversial take I probably said. I've said a lot. But I don't care about the song. Just play the game, right? Just play the game. They all suck anyway.
yeah, the Carrie Underwood one is not inspiring to me.
Yeah.
In all honesty, but I don't even tune in early enough for that to even be a thing, so it doesn't even matter to me. I mean, I like the theme songs, like the CBS theme song is great for NFL. It's kind of, I mean, you're a Titans fan, so you know AFC teams that we listen to that all the time. It's actually really good. The Fox one is good too, but I like the CBS one more than anything else.
They all sound the same to me, and I'll tell you right now, I cannot distinguish it. And yes, I do watch football, guys. Like, I understand sometimes I'm like, you know, it's just I don't have it on memory. I couldn't tell what the din 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 one is, right? Versus din, 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 you know, that's my imitation of it. I don't know. I'm not watching football broadcast for Hans Zimmerman here.
okay, I'm back.
Were you just talking and didn't realize you were out?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we went on a bit of a tangent talking about NFL theme songs, and Charles said
Oh,
that.
because I talked about Hank Williams Jr.
Yeah. So we
But I said something controversial, Andrew.
he didn't like, or he didn't either you didn't like or you didn't care for the.
I think if people have an impassionate feeling about a Monday Night Football theme song before the actual start of football, we're doing it wrong.
I mean, I will just say that, I mean, the song is fine. I think it's more the nostalgia than anything for me, because, you know, even before I was all that big into football, especially pro football, which I still am not that big into, you know, I'm talking when I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, you know, my family would tune in to Monday Night Football. So, you know, that's kind of one of the songs to my childhood soundtrack is Hank Williams, "Are you ready for some football?" What was the last thing I was talking about before I got cut off? Because I went on a bit of a tangent too.
I don't know. We were in Montgomery, Alabama. We talked about Hank Williams and the death car.
Oh, okay.
And then the Montgomery Biscuits.
Montgomery is a very odd city. I think it's worth checking out just for the oddness of it. I certainly want to go back just to check out the museums that I missed. That is such a weird city. Just from a historical perspective, to see just two complete opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of
history
political and social. political and social viewpoints.
Mm-hmm.
There's
no college football teams there either, right?
They do have Alabama State.
Okay. All right, then.
And they do have a bowl game there. Used to be called the Camellia Bowl. I forget what it's called now. I think they might have the Senior Bowl there too, which is the kind of the creme de la creme of college seniors bowl games, all-star games. Don't quote me on that last one, but I know the Camellia Bowl or whatever it's called now is played there in Montgomery.
Mm-hmm. All right then, and and then I took a small trip back to Hialeah as well.
Yeah.
Kind of a bit nostalgic for that, but at the same time, I realize why I left in the first place. So I did that for 10 years. And Andrew, you did that for 10 years as well, I think, to live in South Florida. 8 years, there we go. And then
which, speaking of, today, as a matter of fact, is the anniversary, the 12th anniversary of me moving to Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean,
yeah, me too, I guess.
I think this was PTSD is about to come out 13 years ago when I went to FIU at the first start.
Mm-hmm.
2016. I regret it. Yeah.
I like to tell this story that I feel like there was an omen that Miami was telling me to not go there, because as I'm driving down, probably the 826. You guys know where that weird kind of concrete arch is on the 826?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was a semi truck on the side of the road on fire. Yeah. In hindsight, I realized that was...
That's your intro, baby.
I'm like, Miami was warning me. Miami was warning me that I am in for a wild ride. For what I meant for it to be 3 years turned into 8 years. Yeah, that welcome to Miami. Yeah, so yeah, amazingly, 12 years ago today, I was headed down to Miami from Orlando. You guys lose me again?
I hear you.
No, that's me. I had a thing that I was a little distracted there, but in any case, sorry, Andrew. It was a text or something from here. All right. So those are our adventures across the United States so far. We've been to and from and very far away. So I don't think we have any big. Well, Charles is going to Boston. He said that already, but. I don't seem to have any plans anytime soon, but Charles did float out the idea of maybe us doing some goof trips out and about in different cities to watch sporting events. We can find some cheap stuff, some dumb stuff, some fun stuff, some minor league stuff. There's a lot of minor league stuff here in Florida still.
Hey, if you guys ever want to go to a minor league stadium that used to be a Confederate prison, I know the exact place for you to go.
Yeah.
I hope the guy never have any political aspirations when I make this statement that can be found. I think I'd rather just detach my nether regions and never set foot in Alabama that wasn't on a car trip past Alabama.
I don't think that's a very controversial thing. A lot of people probably feel that way about certain states that they've never visited.
Well, if you are, I will say this, you may not have to worry about it. Tommy Tuberville, senator from Alabama running for governor, says he wants to build a 30-foot wall around the entire state.
The comment that I was going to make would definitely get me in trouble about Tommy Tuberville, so
Oh boy. All right.
Ooh,
Let's
just go to it. Go to it.
let's move on here. All right, so those are our trips, and I did want to talk about. I'm dressed in blue and white. This is the Marlins Nicaraguan heritage jersey with the blue and white hat and everything like that. But I'm just accepting our overlords in the Los Angeles Dodgers after what they just pulled off in the trade deadline. So I've just gone blue and white now. I think those are the gang colors that we're going to be wearing now from here on out because of what's been going on. But
let's see me pulled off in finger quotation marks.
All right, let's go to the MLB trade deadline, guys, because our teams were active. You're both the team. The American League East is probably going to send a bunch of teams to the playoffs the way things are going. And kind of going to go over some notable things here. The Marlins and the Rays.
What is in theory the most teams a division could send to the playoffs for?
Well, technically, a team could send.
They can send 4 with the wild card, right? You get 3 wild cards.
You can send 5 actually. No, wait. The West, the East, the Central, and then the 3 wild cards.
I think it's 3 wild cards.
So yeah, you could send 4 teams. And there's a big possibility that could happen with the American League East because you got the Rays and the Yanks who are probably locked up as far as their playoff spots if they just keep playing like the way they are. And then you got the Red Sox who just suddenly turned hot. And then you've got just like the rest of the American League is just mid to terrible, yet they could still make the playoffs with a losing record. And like the Blue Jays could still make the playoffs. So there's a possibility that could happen. Okay. But deadline deals, trade deadline just happened. I'm on MLB.com's. They got the top 25. Tarek Skubal, the defending American League Cy Young winner. He's probably not going to win it now, especially now he's in the National League. But he was traded from the Tigers to the Dodgers. The Tigers are not going to even try to attempt to keep him, even though they are still in a playoff race and can still win their division, just because of how terrible the American League Central is. And people are criticizing it, obviously, that Dodgers getting everybody, and then Skubal wanted to go to LA. He chose that team, and I think the Tigers, honestly, they just picked whatever good deal that they had, and I guess they didn't really have much leverage from what I can see, but in any case, they sent him to where he wanted to go. He went there, and he's decided to play the game on easy mode now. And people are mad about it, and Dodgers fans are annoying in the sense that they don't realize how they act like they're a victimized franchise, but they aren't. They've had a winning record for like the last 15 or so years now, straight in a row. They haven't been really awful since before 2005, and it's just a long list of everything. And yes, there's other teams that could have done this as well, but no, we're just kind of feeling it now because it's them that's pulling it off. But Charles was a fan of a super team like this before in the New York Yankees, but this one, I don't know, it feels different. Maybe because we were kids back then, but it feels a lot different. I don't know why. What do you guys think?
The super team thing, just because it's my team. Go ahead, Andrew. I just want to put that interjection in there.
And it hurts me to say something positive about the evil empire of baseball. But if you look at, let me pull up the, Charles, you as our resident Yankees fan, of the 4 out of 5 years that you won the World Series back in the late 90s, early 2000s, which would you say was your strongest roster of those 4?
Okay, so the thing is, it was like we mentioned it, is sometimes who you play against, right? But I think the best one for us, I mean,
99.
I don't want to say it probably that was San Diego, right?
98 was San Diego. 99 was against the Braves.
I think 98, but then if you go 99, it's because each time you whip the Braves because those they were the anointed team in the NL, right?
Right.
But my thing is that I really think 2011, or I'm not 2011, sorry, 2009, because you really look who was on there, pitching wise, and just that lineup. You have Hall of Famers already in there. Starting to decline. A-Rod is a Hall of Famer in theory. They just wanted to do it. You had CC. You had AJ Burnett and his awful braids that he had.
Oh, Lord.
You had a lot of other people. And I don't know if it's recency bias.
Yeah, that team was pretty good. Yeah, the core guys.
Yeah, Mark Teixeira,
Bernie Williams wasn't there no more, but...
Yeah, but it was also free agency done right because it was free agency as opposed, and everybody got paid. It's not this deferment stuff that came in. It wasn't this attack of the international poaching of using Shohei to get every single high-end ace pitcher.
You had Matsui, who was aside from Ichiro. Aside from Ichiro was the big other Japanese get, but it wasn't like every Japanese player immediately went to New York.
We had Kevin Cash, by the way. Just saying. I don't know if you take it into that, but that's funny to me. Could be a different Kevin Cash. I'll have to check and verify. No, but I'm looking just on our pitching. It was Pettit, Burnett, Chin-Mei Wang, Jabba Chamberlain. Right, he was a little bit on that decline. Jabba. It was the end of times, Jabba, though. I don't even think he pitched. Mariano, Phil Koch, for all intents, him and Hughes. I have nothing, negative to say about them. But when we look at that whole thing, it was Posada, Teixeira, Cano, Jeter. I think people really forget how good Robinson Cano was before. I mean, he was just what the hell
before the steroids, before the injuries. He was on his way to get 3,000 hits.
Yeah, the weakest guy was essentially Nick Swisher and Johnny Damon, and Johnny Damon was just on like the back nine, Johnny Damon, and then Matsui got the MVP, for a reason. That to me,
and you beat Pedro one last time.
Yeah, and we beat Pedro one last time. But like, if you want me to be like, because I think 98, I think was the one that came into mind because I felt like that was pure
116 wins.
Yeah, like decimation as well. It was a sweep of the World Series. But right now it's Jorge, Tino Martinez, Chuck Knobloch, Derek Jeter, Scott Brosius, Chad Curtis,
Knobloch
Bernie
was
Williams.
Terrible for you guys, though.
Yeah, I'm just reading the roster. Paul O'Neill, Bernie, Darryl Strawberry.
Scott Brosius.
Joe Girardi was just chilling in there. And then, when you look at pitchers now, mind you, there's some things we can remember about pitchers. But we're talking about, I want you guys to be respectful here because I'm old. We're talking about almost like 28 years ago for me. But you had Eddie Pettit, you had Dave Cone, you had Dave Wells, you had Mo, obviously was into his game, a few other guys. But ass to elbows, to me, was that 2009 roster.
But even then, I think
we beat the defending World Series champion.
That's true.
Because Philly won the year prior.
But as far as the feeling
that's a good question. I'm sorry.
But I was gonna go like comparing the feeling of this Dodgers team to those Yanks because that's the team that they're trying to emulate because the Yanks were the last ones to do the three-peat. And I think 99 was when you guys got Roger Clemens, right? So
yeah.
And then 2000. But I feel like sorry, Andrew.
I did so much research on this. I want to
go ahead.
I want to make my research justified. So I looked up the 98 Yankees because that's what Charles said initially, and I completely blanked out anything else he said after that. But I'm using those years because that's when people were starting to hate them the most. Because they were, that was 2 and 3 years and yet a few more to go. But if you look at their primary roster, according to Baseball Reference, and again, this is your starting 9 plus your closer and whatever relievers. And again, this is all based on Baseball Reference. So of your roster, which is 9 plus 14, so about 20 something players, you had, and again, you've already listed a lot of these, but from 98, the players that you had that were homegrown that you drafted were Posada, Jeter, Bernie Williams, Pettit, Hideki Irabu, Del Duque, Mariano Rivera, and Ramiro Mendoza. So you had like 5 or 6 people that were more than that, probably. It was like 6, 7 people, and then the people that you didn't have that were not homegrown, people like Tino Martinez, Chuck Knobloch, Scott Brocious, Chad Curtis, Paul O'Neill, Darryl Strawberry, Cone Wells, things like that. You know, they weren't exactly world beaters compared to, you know, I mean, I'm not saying Freddie Freeman is a world beater, but, you know, he's definitely a very above average, you know, on course for Hall of Fame player. You know, Chuck Knobloch, the only thing he's really noted for is the cool nickname that Chris Berman gave him and the fact that he got the yips. Oh, and that he was in Backyard Baseball 2001. That's about the 3 things that he's best known for. Scott Brocious, he had that cool walk-off home run. Paul O'Neill, I think he kicked a baseball. Darryl Strawberry, stay off the damn weed. Except it was
Darryl Strawberry was the coke. It wasn't the weed.
I know, I know, but I if I had the opportunity to pull out that quote, then I'm going to do it. I mean, so then you compare, look who is your homegrown for, quote unquote, homegrown for last year's Dodgers. You have Will Smith, Andy Pajes, in the least possible definition of homegrown, which I define as the first team that he played for in the majors, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. But that is, I'm being fair because that was my internal definition.
Miguel Rojas is still with the Dodgers, right?
I have no idea.
Because he's
played
technically
Kershaw, but he played like 1 game in the World Series. Dustin May, Emmett Sheehan, and Jack Dreyer were the only people that. But then you look at the rest of the roster. You have Freddie Freeman, Tommy Edman, Mookie Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Shohei Ohtani,
mid,
Tyler Glasnow,
mid.
It's the what the Dodgers are doing. They're taking what the Yankees did, but are doing it on steroids, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I feel like we are inevitably going to a lockout, and this will segue nicely in for you, Francisco, since I know what your thoughts are.
I got the tinfoil hat ready to go.
But I feel that it's necessary because this is not sustainable. The Dodgers have broken the system. Remember a few episodes I told you guys about how I felt that there was some sort of a compact between gaming companies and gamers about, you know, you put out a good game from day one, we will buy it. And instead, these companies are taking advantage of DLC and patches, and they're putting out crap, and are breaking that compact with gamers. I feel like this is the same thing. I am mad at them, but they're playing the game. Huh? Mike Lowell played for the Yankees in 1998. I didn't know that.
Yep.
He had .1 WAR in 8 games. Sorry. They're taking advantage of the rules. Fair play to them. You hate that, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Vegas Golden Knights, the Tampa Bay Lightning, even the Florida Panthers taking advantage of the salary cap, the LTIR, and again, was within the rules, as annoying as it is. What the Dodgers are doing, completely within the rules. It's annoying as hell, but it's within the rules. So when you have something like that, you have to fix the rules.
Let me jump on it.
Look at Shohei Ohtani's contract. The thing is a whole backloaded. They're paying him pennies right now.
But the thing is, the Shohei Ohtani contract is the albatross of how they're doing like the deferments, and some places will end up going with it. It's these opt-out contracts that they're doing to get these short-term superstars who decide they need a ring for their legacy. That's what Kyle Tucker essentially is. And Skubal, in all his insincerity, was saying they know how to do things great. He was out there saying, I'm just going to go play for the Dodgers. Because if it really came down for big money, if Detroit wanted to spend the money, he probably would have stayed. And I can understand them maximizing as much money as they want to have. But it's these little short-term things. And then, utilizing Shohei to get Sasaki and Yoshinobu Yamamoto is expected to a degree, especially how the international purse kind of plays out. And, all you can do is either they're gonna do good or they do bad. Like the Yankees did the same thing. But part of the issue is, and I don't think really anybody kind of put the blame on it here for a bit, is that, and I'm defending the Dodgers for a second, so, hell's freezing over to a degree. The Tigers were just bitches. Even if he left in free agency, you didn't have to go and trade him elsewhere. You could have if somebody wanted it. But from everything that I saw, and I don't remember off the top of my head who they got, but they couldn't even get I almost said the Lakers. The Dodgers,
prospects.
Their top prospect. They got like the bottom mid, and it's like that. What does that tell you? We just called up George Lombard, our top prospect, and we got Spencer Jones, who's been the project for a bit, but they're contributing. You're taking in guys who may never see the field on your team because you're going to trade him for something else. So it's not about like they're playing the game because other people want to do it. It's the fact that players want to get more money regardless. So, God, I'm defending ownership when I say this. I hate myself. So the Dodgers, because their ownership's not an individualized ownership. It's every single person that had some contribution in LA, right? Magic Johnson, and then also there's it starts with a K, like the group that bought them out, I think. But there's a lot of contributors in there. But more of the problem is that if we have players who are accepting these high-end deals for just 2 years, but they're preaching like longer-term security, and if it was that easy, they would have signed up. But I think what happens is, am I getting my own tinfoil hat? I think players know that there's there is that concern lockout coming, so that's why they're catching so high to where they can go into the best team to get the money and have a chance for a ring because they're going to have a long lockout. We did a little long journey here, an expedition, hint for my non-sponsor, but that's just a couple of things I want to jump on for it. Andrew, in contention, because it's not necessarily the rules, it's the players are the ones kind of dictating where they wanted to be, and they just said, we want to go to Dodgers.
All right.
And by the way, I just want to say really quick, we have not pulled out this segment in a while, but Gottlieb Goon for Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
And listen, I get it. He wants that ring. He wants that hunk of metal, as Rob Manfred once called the Commissioner's Trophy. But the way that the quote that he came up with, that he said just after he got traded, I don't really sympathize with people that blame the Dodgers for anything they've done. They've developed a really good organization. They draft well. They acquire talent really well. They retain talent. It's a winning organization. Now, the complaints seem to be because they've won the last 2 World Series. I don't think it was like that 3 years ago. So I don't really sympathize with people that are complaining because the Dodgers do all the right things.
They're a beatable team, though.
Who's the other one? Every team could trade for me. Every team could make that acquisition. It comes off as such a dick quote. It doesn't win him any sympathy points at all, which I don't know. I think he could have been a bit more tactful, or just not said that at all.
And now he's in LA. I mean, he said he wants to smoke, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But it also makes it easy to do that when you're playing baseball on easy mode now. So that's the thing as well. I know, as much as people say, oh, the pressure's all on the Dodgers. They actually have it hard. You're playing the game on easy mode, right, Tarek Schoolball? I mean, it's fine. You were with the Tigers and you did that, and okay, we couldn't get past it. American League Central was mid, and we were kind of mid, even winning our division at one point. But now you're on easy mode, and you just want to kind of coast the rest of the way there. Fine, hey, you made your life a lot easier. I think we all kind of, everybody wants that, so just admit it. Just admit it. Look, hey, I wanted to play on easy mode. I just wanted the rest of my career to just be, hey, they're going to pay me big money. I could sit here and I could be injured. We have like 10 guys injured right now in our rotation, and we could still win the World Series because we keep getting guys. So it's fine. It's fine. Just admit it. Just say that. Hey, I wanted to play the game on easy mode. Now I am. And okay, cool. Now, and I've got all these things, these other guys in front of me that are going to protect me. If I suck, well, then Blake Snell will get me, then Tyler Glasnow will get me, then Shohei will get me. So, I mean, just own it. Just own it. But hey, look, I just want to play on easy mode. But in any case, that's a Dodgers trade. But for me, I mean, it's all conspiracy theory to me. I think this is all it's a collusion between the owners. The Tigers realize, hey, if we do this, we'll be able to get this done. The Dodgers owners have been taking the financial hit to make this lockout and maybe this canceled season, this nuclear option to get the salary cap going. I've been saying this for years now, but I really do believe that all the teams in their ownership are refusing to go forward and try and sign these guys. Even teams like the Yanks are in on this as well. The Mets are in on it. All right, we got Soto. We paid him all the big money without the deferred money, and you know what? We're not even buying in. Our team sucks. And hey, this might actually work out for us because then we'll just have one guy grandfathered into the new CBA with the lockout, and then we can build our team. We're always going to spend to the cap anyways. We can just look at it that way too. So, other salary cap leagues, I think that they're going to do what the NHL has with the salary floor and the salary cap. That's probably the only way that they will get something done. I don't know if they'll have a hard cap. I don't know if I feel like they'll just do a soft cap like the NBA, and we'll have a system like that. And but ultimately, this is what baseball has wanted to happen for the longest time. And now I'm seeing YouTube commercials about this, guys, where they're trying to convince people, the ownerships, the MLB teams themselves, not the Players Association, that this is for the best and that we're just trying to lower all your prices for your tickets and all these other things. And I know there are some things that affected baseball when it came to the revenue. The regional TV deals all going kaputs is the main reason for a lot of teams not being able to do anything. The Tigers were part of that group as well. But we'll see how MLB does this. But I've thought about this for a long time, that the Dodgers were the team that will be the noble sacrifice for everybody hating us because we're in the market that's going to be able to do this. And they did. And after COVID and all that stuff happened, they were like, all right, let's let's wrap this up. And every other team did it. And Major League Baseball's looking at the last few World Series. I think the Rangers Diamondbacks one was the only one that they weren't mad with. But even then, that was the Rangers buying themselves a World Series. So actually worked toward their narrative. So that's my opinion on what's going on. It's the tinfoil hat opinion, but I think that's what's been happening. All right, guys.
All right.
I'm going to keep going down. So that was Tarek Skubal. Adley Rutschman, the Orioles have given up. They traded him to Boston because the Red Sox have been winning like 30 out of their last 40 games or something like that. They've been on this hot streak to get back into contention in the American League. They're not far from the Yanks right now. They're not even that far from Tampa right now. And I guess in some ways Charles is happy because Alex Cora didn't get to enjoy any of this either.
It really says a lot that I talked about, that he was the beneficiary of the stars on that team and that he couldn't manage. But no, Charles, you just have to have a hate boner for everything.
I still want.
Well, guess what? Hate boner's still going.
So Rutschman goes to Boston, and then the Red Sox got a bunch of guys that I don't know. But Rutschman was one of those guys that's like, oh, this is one of the guys for the Orioles, and they had this the press conference announcing the trade, and a bunch of guys that were crying that he was gone. And Pete Alonso said it best.
They were going to see Spider-Man.
Yeah, they were going to go see Spider-Man. I think. Did you watch that, Charles, already? Or
not yet.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I did. I said it was trash. It was awful. That movie was a 5. And I hate people. I can go on a whole. It is definitely a non-sponsor to not watch.
Really?
I'm gonna say something.
All right, hey, this will be good for the algorithm. Go ahead, you have the floor.
People like things that are like the equivalent of
about Spider-Man. By the way, I gotta let the algorithm know. So
that's fine. You know what? Jonah bark me. It's okay. Y'all just love flashy keys. That's it. You like big keys, like little keys, like little things on your keychains. We're gonna give you Spider-Man. We're gonna give you Hulk. We're gonna give you Punisher. We're gonna give you other characters. We're going to give you what you think is depth, but not depth. We'll give you what you think is cool moments, but it's not really cool moments. And there's going to be a lot of things that come from it. I have like, all right. It is a soulless movie that lies to you, that tells you it has actual soul in it. That's just, I can go on. I have messages that I was texting the boys on, and I don't remember fully of what I said, but I know that was like the beginning of it. Like, yeah, everybody's acting's fine. Like, yeah, Tom Hardy is a good actor and stuff like that, but the whole concept of everything, all right, I got this. It's a soulless film that pretend to have soul. Come on, Charles. I called it pigs being fed slop because my buddy was trying to give me like the Odyssey, fantastic. Go watch the Odyssey. It's fun.
Odyssey was fantastic.
Odyssey was fantastic. I saw it on IMAX, but not the true IMAX. All right, I got this. If you made the movie, I just said your villain's not really a villain. That's the first thing I'm going to say. It's a 5. Okay. Here we go. This is actual text messages that I said. It's a 5. I just said what you felt, but you are too afraid of insult backlash. You cannot have your main character be the vehicle for other character stories, and they can't seem to actually do villains. Vehicles for other franchises, more or less. It's a soulless film that they tried to convince you has soul. If you wanted a villain, you could have XYZ be there. Unravels badly and gives you bait about stuff such as the Arachnid. It's a trailer, so I can say it. And then there was the ending that was really bad, in my opinion, on some stuff. And I go and I say the only thing I enjoyed was Punisher realizing he was not made for this shit. Well, I'm not counting as cursing here against the Hulk, and he just hand-fisted in. What an awful fucking movie. And this is why you don't let Twitter... Follow us on Twitter, by the way. Charles the True, FJOJR Jr. I already said JR, sorry. Sports_Goofs, Stanford Holays, Panther Historian, Marlin Historian, and all that other fun jazz. And then, why was the Hulk even there for? Like, I know what he was there, just limited, just a stand-in for what is alluded, just as a snatch moment. Spider-Man isn't your brand in your movie, and that's the problem, because you don't And that's my complaint with a lot of the MCU things. They don't have legitimately good villains. Wanna know why? Because you made No Way Home, which the legitimate villains was from other Spidey franchises. You didn't even have, spoiler, I guess, for people who didn't see it 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you didn't even have like a villain bringing in like a multiverse into that. You're like, oh, we like, hey, look, yeah, cool. Well, go, the pose here. Doc Ock's here, whatever. It is for adults who like the dangling keys, but they don't want to be called a baby. I said what I had to say. I have spoken.
Okay. So that's what Charles thinks about Spider-Man. And,
so mad. So mad. I want you guys to see that movie. I want you guys to see that movie and then just come back to me on it.
I don't know how Andrew is, how versed he is in the MCU. I know I'm not completely. I just watched Deadpool and Wolverine after all this time. Endgame. Okay. All right then.
And you're doing good. You're doing good not seeing that movie. It's a 5.
Oh man.
Kevin Feige.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the Red Sox got Adley Rutschman. That was a big one as well.
You know what? You know what? Thank you. Spider-Man, I got this. Brand new day is Alex Cora, Red Sox led. You get one good roster to bring you out, man. No Way Home. Even though I care for it. And then everything else, just oh yeah, but it's the Red Sox running on that reputation.
But yeah, Pete Alonso described it best when it came to this trade. It's just like, if we didn't play like shit, well, actually it doesn't count, right? When we quote people,
we're quoting other people.
Yeah,
we're quoting
so
ourselves in our own outside.
This wouldn't have happened. So, and he's right. If the Orioles didn't play that way, this wouldn't have happened because, and once again, the American League is so bad this year that the Orioles could still make the playoffs. Actually, this happened. Luis Arias goes to the Phillies. That's sad for me because he's in a division again, but on a opposing team. And I love Luis Arias for the very short time that he was with the Marlins. He's still doing all those slap hits and is the last bastion of the old ways when it comes to what a hitter used to be with regards to batting average and nothing else. Casey Mize goes to the Padres. The Padres are once again, the National League wild card is basically like the rest of the American League outside of the East. It's just kind of a lot of mid teams. Once again, I think 83 wins is probably going to get you that final wild card spot. So just need one. That's why I'm hoping the Marlins can kind of hang around and then maybe get off into one last good streak of games in the last 2 weeks of the season and maybe find a way to punch their ticket. But Robbie Ray also goes to the Padres. So another former Cy Young Award winner. The Giants have started blowing it up, and they're also a big spending team that doesn't work out for them. That's kind of the weird thing that they've become in the National League West right now. They're kind of like the Mets in that sort of regard. The Cubs got Kevin Gausman. The Cubs are going for it this year. They got a good team going. They got a good thing going, and PCA is doing fantastic. So they're just adding guys, and they're probably gonna take that first wild card, and maybe give the Brewers a run for their money in that division. But the Brewers are regular season merchants, as we all know, and yeah. All right. This is Charles, the Luis Garcia Jr., heading off to the Yanks. Already made an impression with you guys. He got a home run in his first game.
Yeah. We need a catcher, but the thing is like there's actually not a lot of good catchers out there. And the Twins were like buyers, so we can get Ryan Jeffers. And as I told Andrew, we can't get Rutschman if you don't open the door when we're knocking. You know what I mean? Like, there is a little bit of that pettiness that comes in. First off, you never trade with your divisional rival. Have some spine. Like, the fans just hate you for it in between. But what do I know? The whole thing, because I was reading responses, and everybody's like, oh, it doesn't handle this. It doesn't have bullpen pitching. It doesn't handle, the outfield situation. Some of these people that we traded for are bad metrics. The writing's on the wall. Giancarlo's not coming back this season.
No.
Trent Grisham is awful. And we probably should not give him that 1 year contract, but it's just 1 year, right? Because listen, you're talking about somebody who had to pay Jacoby Ellsbury contract forever. So 1 year versus like the 9 or 7 that he was on, it's okay. Judge, it's a real toss up. It's a real toss up. So we need people that are going to go into the power because it was a bad injury season. Reed was injured, Rodon's injured, Judge was injured, Standon's injured.
It wasn't like you guys went completely all in either, right? You got him, and you can. I mean, the American League's so wide open, even with like Tampa being the number 1 team, but you guys all have 60 wins along with the Red Sox, where it's like, you know what, we all get hot. If one of us gets hot at the right time before the playoffs start, that could carry you to the World Series.
We got hot. We overtook Tampa for a couple of games. And then the injuries really piled up because the injuries are to people who are always serving the bats. Because the other people in the lineup can't really, connect all the time. Austin Wells, batting 169. Grisham, very low. Volpe's Volpe, right? Like, that's another one that's just going to be greener pastures, and we couldn't trade him out going to it. Jazz is weird. He's the only one I kind of have, like, I think maybe if he could just get his head out of his rear end, he'd get it going. But that's where Abrams comes along, and let's see. He was leading the NL in slugging or batting average. So I was like, okay, fine. See what happens. He's under control. It's just one of those things like, let's just try to see if we can chug along properly because you really want to figure out where you want to play that seeding. And if I remember correctly, because I had to check it the other day, this was the only thing I did in preparation for this show, because we knew we were going to talk about a trade deadline at some point, is that with the team that we have, not that I'm advocating for the tank, gentlemen, but if we're 1 or 2, we got to play Boston, presumably. But if we somehow just chug a little slower, right? Chug a little slower and get the last wild card spot, I believe we play, what is it, the third?
I mean, you're playing either the Central or the or the second or the first wild card or the West. One of those teams, because the Central, you're probably going to play the Central because the West might be a little bit better than the American League Central.
Yes. So you see what I'm saying?
So you don't, because you might, like the Astros are starting to come back again, so you don't want to run into a hot Astros team.
But right now, we just tapped the White Sox in our series a week ago. You got to play a little strategy. Oh, but Charles, that means you have to play the 1 seed, the Rays. That's fine. Like, I'd rather have that course of action. Like, you have to acknowledge it because that would be perfect comeuppance for us. For last year, we eliminate the Red Sox because of Cam Schlittler. And this year, they eliminate us in the wild card round. Life's ironic like that. Sports is beautiful. It's a sports show, everybody, with variety and everything in between. That's all I have to say to that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Clay Holmes and Tyrone Taylor go to the Cubs. So the Cubs, once again, going all in. It's the Rays and the Marlins pulling off a trade. Andrew, you get Liam Hicks, who the Rays have had their eye on for quite a bit now.
Yeah, you both suck. I need Liam Hicks.
Liam Hicks made franchise history, the first player to hit a grand slam in his first game with me.
Yeah, I know. We're already immediately losing this trade right now. And I'll say this from the perspective of a Marlins fan and what people have told me, that the Rays gave up some pretty good prospects. But I posted it and I sent it to you guys as well. Prospects don't get the loins going down here anymore. Okay?
No, it's accurate.
It's been 23 years since our World Series run. We've had a couple of playoff.
Holy crap! It's been that long already.
Yeah, we're not making it this year, and it's been. I've watched prospect after prospect after prospect after prospect. You guys keep hyping them up, and I stop believing in them more and more each time. So, if you're telling me this kid is going to be whatever, he's already in Double-A, he just got promoted. Look, unless you got the second coming of Miguel Cabrera, and we're not going to trade him after 3 years, then I don't care. I really don't care. So, until they're here, the Rays are winning this trade so far. If in 3 or 5 years, which is probably the lifespan of when we're actually see if this trade actually matters, If any of those guys actually make it and is a viable starter, then maybe it can be equivalent to it. But if Liam Hicks ends up being the World Series MVP, then we lose it outright completely. So
we have to do a welfare check on you.
You know what? I'm already dead inside enough already. It doesn't really matter. In any case, he hits a grand slam in his first at bat with the Rays, which is great in Colorado. Which is like, okay, it's Colorado, but still, he was our team leader in the RBI, and we still had control over him beyond this. So, the algorithm and whatever told them that it's the best time to trade him, and this, whoever the F these kids are, and one of them is, let's see, has a .897 OPS with Montgomery. Look at that, Andrew. With Montgomery, he's definitely not with Montgomery now. I think we moved them up to Jacksonville to be with the Jumbo Shrimp. But either way, it doesn't really matter to me until any of these guys actually make it to the majors. Because who knows? I really don't know. So, in any case, that was the trade that we made. So you got a good first baseman. He was mainly a catcher, but he played first base for us as well as DH because we brought up one of our catchers who's actually really good defensively and has started to come around when it comes to hitting. So we're hoping he's our guy who will actually extend him, which is a rare thing to see for the Marlins to do. Jose Soriano goes to the Blue Jays. Once again, the Blue Jays could actually make the playoffs despite being awful this year. So there's that. Freddie Peralta, you guys got him from the Mets. So the Rays got him. So they're bolstering that pitching right there. It's you guys couldn't get Scooble.
That was our biggest thing is pitching. Although, I mean, Freddie is a starting pitcher. We definitely our weak point at times this year has been our bullpens, so we didn't really shore that up, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. But Peralta at least has had a history of pitching well. I think it's hard to gauge somebody when they come from such a terrible team in the Mets. Guys, watching the Mets has been awful. They're good for nothing. They haven't helped the Marlins at all, aside from us sweeping them. But aside from that, it's just been bad. But in any case, you got the best pitcher that they could offer, which is something at least, right?
Indeed.
Foster Griffin goes off to Cleveland, who can win that division. The Nationals are in this. The Nationals are in a spot where I think they're probably not gonna. They're losing at the wrong time, and they're really not going to go all in this season. The Marlins didn't really do that either, but because we traded off 4 guys as well, but 2 of them were in the minors, so it doesn't really hurt that much. The only one that only concerned me was Hicks, where it's just like, oh man, looking at the last few games that we played against the Braves, it's like, if we had that bat in the lineup, that might have turned around a couple of these games here, maybe. And the Braves are playing super strong, I get it, but still, the Marlins have a shot at making the playoffs, and I don't think I think they're either prospect hugging too much, which I wholeheartedly believe the Marlins do too much, actually, and they're not doing enough when it comes to actually wheeling and dealing in the actual trades here, because what good are all these people? It's like, oh, we have club control for him until 2031, and then he comes up and he ends up sucking, so it doesn't matter to me. I want some proven talent finally. I know this is third season of under this new regime, but it's I need some dividends coming up by next year, because this ain't like the Rays. I think from like 04, it was, I think Joe Madden was hired back in 2005. I think, Andrew, or 2006.
That sounds familiar.
And I think by that point, because Lou Piniella was your manager for like 2 seasons before that. I think by like 06 or something like that. And then by 08, you guys are in the World Series. So yeah, I need some dividends to hit here for the Marlins by next season, because this needs to start happening. Heliot Ramos goes to the Yanks. Charles, you had no idea who the F this guy was when this trade went down.
Yeah, it's just a body. It's a body. I researched and I checked and everything like that. And I get it. There's some defensive issues onto him. And then see it. Side note, just like Jeff Passan just knows how to give a good analysis of these players that I don't have the time to always watch because I chose not to get the MLB TV package. Has helped me put up to some things, especially because I don't watch Sam Fran, right? So what am I going to do on it? But it's another outfielder. That's fine because it's what I told you. If it leads to we're not playing Volpe, we're not playing Grisham, we're gonna shift around some people. We called up Lombard. We're gonna see if Ben Rice can be maybe converted back to catcher, right? Wells could just go to bat, but I think Ramos is also a dominant righty bat, if memory serves me correctly. It's just about just filling possible needs. We're in the unknown, but the thing is this is just the best chance. That's why the Rays went in on it, and usually they sell out half the time. No slight. Yeah. That's just
American
fact.
League is so wide open right now.
And the Dodgers are beatable. All right, betting this right now. If the Dodgers do not three-peat, I'm winning. I'm right. If I eat crow, you guys tell me I gotta do something for it. But on the record, because there's sometimes a problem too much, and they came so close to losing last year. And the one thing I want people to understand something about baseball, when you get like in football, that final minute drive of a quarterback comeback that has to happen, the pick always kind of occurs, right? Unless your name's Aaron Rodgers and you just throw a bomb and all that stuff, the Hail Mary, because the team played better than you and that defense comes in. Baseball playoffs, I'm going to list some great people here, unless your name is like Roy Halladay, Strasburg when his elbow's not out. I had a few others, but I got so
Madison
into the energy. Madison Bumgarner, yeah. A lot of times these star pitchers will screw it up in the postseason.
Clayton Kershaw.
Exactly. Thank you. It happens a lot more than you think. And part of that is that when we switch into the 3-man rotation, you guys know my opinion on it. I actually think it's super flawed. I think it's the reason why there's a lot of unevenness that comes in. Like Yamamoto last year, godsend. Holy crap, it was amazing, right? He was coming back in and doing everything. But once that duration comes in when you're in the final set, and there's always a theory about rest, right? Because that's what happened with the Braves a couple of years ago. They had the week off and it was just over in that sense. And they got bombarded in that divisional round, if memory serves right. But the blow up and it just, you throw the last minute pick and it's over, but you were at least trying to drive and do something. It's very hard to score runs in the postseason for whatever reason. So if you end up blowing up as these starting pitchers on a limit count, an innings count, whatever, and your team gets shut up by their other people, and that's what I saw with the Dodgers last year. We could have beaten them if we really fine-tuned it in, and they have lost to a degree. I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. I don't see the Dodgers three-peating. If they do, okay, fine. I don't think it's going to be the Brewers who beat them. I don't know what the hell's going on AL East, but teams are beatable. This is not David versus Goliath.
The Cubs could beat them.
The Cubs
just did.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you look at the lineup too. Shohei was not that great in the postseason last year as a hitter. And then now you have this dearth of pitchers who are starting pitchers that you're going to put up a setup man. Unless, assuming, because I don't think Glasnow and Snell are out for the season, right? So you're either going to sit them, but you always need more quality arms. And you might be putting guys to do some things for a small inning or not that they might not be capable of, or people just blow up. So I'm just excited to see. That's all I can say to it. But I don't know what the punishment is for Charles. You guys can decide it, right? I'll leave it to you. I just want on the record that I don't think they do a three-peat. I've been saying it the last couple weeks. I've seen their games. I feel like the Dave Roberts screw-up's happening, right? Because he's just been benefiting from dumber managers. And I can tell you right now, Aaron Boone's the dumbest manager. So that's 1 for 1. And then whoever is over in Toronto did some dumb stuff too. I'm just saying. That's all I got to say. Sorry for that tangent.
All right. Well, I think, Andrew, you can come up with a good punishment. I'm not good at that type of stuff, but it'll be interesting. All right. We'll put it out there or post it. Obviously, I hope the algorithm or the AI clips that for sure. All right. So that was Helio to the Yanks. Lars Nootbaar leaves St. Louis and goes to Arizona. So 2 teams that are just... Nootbaar was he had that thing with the World Baseball Classic in 2023 on Team Japan, and then came up with the Cardinals and was all right, but obviously needs a change of scenery. And the Diamondbacks are doing that once again. I had that weird thing where the Diamondbacks just suddenly become good, and they're at that point where it's like, okay, they might be good enough to lock in that second wild card spot, because they if they keep playing this way, they might be able to create enough separation for that. Taylor Ward, once again, the Orioles blowing this thing up. The Mariners get him, and of course the American League West is wide open. The Blue Jays trade Dalton Varsho to Houston, and the Astros getting him. Joe Adell goes to Cleveland. Once again, the American League Central is wide open. Any of those teams can win it. Aside from the Kansas City Royals, the Tigers could surprisingly win it if they got hot for some weird reason.
Well, they traded their pitcher Miser as well.
Yeah.
So that kind of hurts.
And then let's see, Luis Castillo goes from Seattle to the White Sox. I think he's also kind of needed a change of scenery from Seattle. He had a couple good seasons up there, but the White Sox are a fun team. If any team wants to win the American League Central, I hope it's them, because that looks really fun. That looks really fun, just given how awful they've been between after 2021 and until now. They've had
the power of Christ compels you.
Yeah, the worst record in baseball history, and then the Pope happens to be a White Sox fan, and then this happens. They get Munetaka Murakami, who is just fun just to watch, and all the dingers and everything like that, and it's just a fun team. It's a fun baseball team.
And the funny thing is, the people that were on the mission from God from Chicago were the Blues Brothers, and their address was Wrigley Field. So I find it interesting that eventually, when God does get involved with Chicago, he comes from the South Side.
Let's see. And then there's a bunch of other trades that doesn't matter to me anymore. Okay. And that's about it, guys. So that's really American League. That's a baseball trade deadline. Right now, our teams are in the midst of playoff hunts. I think the Yanks and the Rays have their stuff pretty much locked up. The Marlins, if the way things are going right now, they haven't been able to beat anybody good since since June, actually, since Pride Month, and they swept the Phillies. But I don't know if that was just the Phillies also being in a funk around that time. But playing this Braves team, it's very clear how the gap that was created, because at one point the Marlins were within 3 games, and now it's just the Braves are just kind of running away with that division once again. So that kind of sucks for us. But the American League, the East might send 4 representatives to the playoffs, and we got all the usual suspects when it comes to the Rays, Yanks, and the Red Sox. So that'll be interesting to see that rivalry go in there. We're at an hour and a half, guys, but we're 14 minutes before 10 o'clock. I guess we could do our non-sponsors and maybe close out with something, and that'll be it.
I'd say end with the non-sponsors if you're pressed for time.
All right. Is there any other topics that we haven't covered? We covered our trips. We talked a lot about the trade deadline. Charles talked about Spider-Man. Anything else that comes to mind for you guys? I know NFL preseason is starting. We got the Hall of Fame game coming up, and college football is also going to be ramping up at some point. We usually take a break. I think we have one more episode, and then we'll take a break before that, and then we'll pop on either at NFL Week 1 or after it, and go from there. But any other topics, guys?
I guess something I wanted to kind of touch on was the Orlando Dreamers, which is the so today the Orange County Tourist Development Tax Citizenship Committee, or
it's just Andrew.
Something.
It's just Andrew getting on the getting all the concept art going, putting up the money. It's just him.
They're putting out a request for $975 million to build, or at least partially fund, a baseball stadium and what are those things called? Like the Battery in Atlanta.
Yeah, the ballpark village, the district. Yeah.
They're looking to build one in right next to SeaWorld, which odd choice for location because there's like nothing there. There's not enough room.
Well, they're something that they want to be there. So,
so they're asking for $975 million for ballpark village / ballpark. I will give them credit. They are pushing on as if they are going to get a baseball team, even though Tampa is at this point essentially accounted for. And the odds of MLB putting 2 teams in Central Florida is like next to 0. I mean, the state can barely handle 2 teams right now.
I think it's all just a ploy to get that. Like they're ready to go as soon as Tampa's deals fall through. They're basically like, we're ready to go. We'll buy the team, or we'll enter into the ownership, and they'll just make a sweetheart deal because the Rays just got recent new ownership, and we'll get into a sweetheart deal up here in Orlando. We'll give you guys the land, and you guys will own this, and that, and it'll be a simple transition, comparatively so, from Tampa to Orlando. It's actually closer than what the A's just went through, moving from Oakland to Sacramento temporarily too.
I mean, I'll just point out that if for some reason there were 2 teams in Central Florida, I think my allegiance would still lie with the Rays.
I don't believe you. The Ron Burgundy beat. If anything, you'll be wearing both hats, and you'll wear one of those tacky half jerseys with half Rays,
Lord,
half Orlando.
I hate those.
If they're in the NL, you'll have an AL team and an NL team.
That could be the best scenario for him, but I doubt Major League Baseball would. All of this doesn't make sense, in all honesty. Yeah, you're right, Andrew. There's a very slim possibility that this would happen, because you'd have to do this division. You're going to have 2 teams in Florida in the same division. I hardly doubt that would happen in Major League Baseball. I know we have it in the NBA and the NFL. The NFL? No.
Well, the
NBA
Dodgers and the
NHL.
Giants are in the same division.
The what?
The Dodgers and the Giants are in the same
Yeah, but they're
division.
not 2 hours within each other.
Good point.
Yeah, they're not 2 hours within each other, and yeah, you can do it. And I still don't think you'd have Orlando and Miami in the same division either, as well. And also you have to think about the TV marketing and splitting that up, because the Marlins are going to keep South Florida, but then Tampa is going to lose much more when it comes to splitting up their market, because like, oh, we're going to have an Orlando team honing into our stuff. No, that's not going to happen either. So
This is like with the Nationals and Orioles.
Yeah, that somebody's has to, and there's no regional TV deals to even make that up, which is what happened to the Nationals. They didn't even have a regional TV deal. They had to go with the Orioles one, just to make it up to the Orioles having their market split up. So the dreamer, they really are dreamers. It is a big dream scenario, but the only way that they'd have this happen is if the Rays move there or the Rays move out of Florida someplace else, and then MLB is looking to add another Florida team because they want a second team there, and Orlando would be an expansion team.
Right.
And
the odds of both existing is not going to happen.
Yeah. But the renders, everybody can make renders. The Rays are experts in making renders. But Orlando, if they're getting the public support, and I think they are trying to one up Tampa and be like, look at our support, guys. Look at our politicians and movers and shakers getting behind this project. And there's a possibility, but we'll see. We'll see about that. All right.
And the other thing from the TDT I wanted to mention, because it is sports related, is UCF is asking for, I think, 119 million spread between 3 projects. The first and the primary is upgrading the football stadium, and this is something I did not know. All of the athletics kind of any sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? Telecasts, broadcasts they do, whether it's for the smaller sports all the way up to football, all is routed through one broadcast center, which is located at the football stadium, which I did not know. So what they're looking to do is they're looking to upgrade that broadcast center, because presumably it hasn't really been updated that much since 2007 or whatever. And also to do some minor upgrades to the stadium itself. They're also looking to build a new track and field complex and move them out so that the current track and field complex now just becomes a soccer-only facility. And they also want to build a new softball stadium, which I got to say, I am very happy that they're giving some love to the soccer team and to softball, because softball is by far our best team in all of the athletics department, not even close. Them, rowing, pretty much any of the women's sports, well, except women's basketball, but our best programs are women's sports by and large. And the softball team is currently playing in a kind of about a 25-year-old facility that's way kind of out in the middle of nowhere, relatively speaking. Looks like they want to move it more into the heart of the athletics complex. It'll be right across from the football stadium, and it'll be all fancy and new, which they deserve. They are, like I said, they are by far the best team that we have. As for soccer, the men's and women's teams are both really good, and they deserve to have their own facility as well. Nothing against track and field, because track and field also really good, but they're going to be put kind of far out, which is unfortunate, but it'll be good that everyone sort of has their own facilities for themselves. It's more becoming of a Power 4 school where teams aren't really sharing facilities as much. So yeah, there's about, I think, $3 billion worth of people asking for money from this tourist development tax, which, by the way, for those who do not know, and if anyone is somehow listening to this, unlike Tampa or pretty much any other city where teams are asking for money, this money isn't actually coming from the public. It's coming from this so-called tourist development tax, which people call the hotel tax or the bed tax. There is a 6% tax levied on any hotel rooms that are purchased within a certain corridor of Orange County. It's around the Convention Center, International Drive. I think there may be others, but that's kind of the heart of where this money is coming from. That money is set aside into a specific pot, which is just for tourist development. So it can't go into helping the homeless, can't go into anything that would actually make a difference in the city, which I hate, but I won't go into the politics of it. But whatever they so deem as something that could bolster tourism for the county can request money out of this pot. So every year, a bunch of people kind of line up and ask for handouts from this tourist development tax. Anything from the city's main performing arts center is asking for $750 million. There's a city, Eatonville, that is trying to get a museum. Nora Zeal Hurston Museum here. The Holocaust Museum has asked for money in the past. Basically anything that can somehow make some sort of an argument that it would bring people here for tourist purposes will ask for money, and usually they won't spend the whole amount. The city won't allocate the whole pot because it usually only makes about $300 to $400 million a year, so they don't want to completely tap it out. They just want to be able to replenish it and break even. So we'll see. I don't think the $975 million is going to go through. Who knows if the UCF one will go through, but that's kind of what's going on the sports side of things here in Orlando. Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's see. It's about to be 10 o'clock, so let's do word from our non-sponsors to close out the show. So people, places, things, concepts, what have you that we've been doing over the last week. So who is willing to go for? I think you guys would know what I'm doing, but I want to open up to the rest, and we'll close out with mine because I know what I'm doing.
I'll go. You want to go first, Charles?
All right.
Yeah, I'll go first. So there's things where you can. The most beautiful thing is when you can see someone's imagination and the beauty and the greatness that they have in one little seed of an idea that bleeds over to some form of entertainment that we all can enjoy. We see that in books, television shows, movies, and video games. Unfortunately, it does not occur for me watching Spider-Man Brand New Day. But it did occur for me when I played. Probably, I would be very surprised if anything tops this. My game of the year. I'm calling it right now. Clair Obscure Expedition 33. Made by Sample Interactive. The French are weird people. And the French are beautiful people. And I love them. Oui, oui. And I would kiss oui, oui. Because I felt a lot of things playing this game. I got on sale for Black Friday last year. Every review I saw was out there. I'm like, and I don't know, it's a turn-based game. I'm playing it right now for the post DLC or DLC, I guess is what they're calling it. And I feel like I can't tell you much because I don't want to have you miss out on it. For the adventure, I would recommend the playthrough. I will recommend, if you just feel that you can't do it, to just watch a full setup of it, story-wise, everything, but you might be missing out on what you get into it. Think about a Final Fantasy, if it wasn't just repeatedly weird each time, that's a starter point. But the whole basis of the game story, and this is just a very light, summary of not the overall, but what happens is that every year the paintress chooses a number, and if you're older than that number, you get gommaged, which is French for, scrubbed, essentially. Think the Thanos snap. So it is an emotional, compelling, hopeful game, and I put in 45 hours in 1 week and beat it. Started on a Sunday, beat it on a Monday. And that's also because I took off from exercising because of, had to heal myself for a bit, and tells me I don't have hobbies. But all the party members I love playing as, each act was different. I thought I absolutely hated the end of Act 2 going to Act 3, and then I beat the game. And it's one of those things, it's like Death Stranding 2 for me, where I cannot get out of my head weeks out. From the soundtrack, from dialogue, from rewatching certain scenes at the very end. Francisco knows the scenes I'm probably talking about when it comes to Death Stranding 2. That very, very end, or anything in the connected world. This game made me feel it. It made me feel it to where I get to the ending, I'm seeing something, and I have the tears are welling up, and it's special. It's special. And it is something I would encourage. It's short, relatively short. You can probably beat it in 30, 35 hours, but I would recommend that you don't. I think you should take your time with it. And it's one of those games where I might New Game Plus it to continue with the build. Because my resistance to turn-based RPGs is a lot of times it might be a grind fest. Did I play this game on majority on story mode? Hell yeah, I did. But then when I thought it was too easy, I put it on normal mode, the way it's supposed to be played, or everything, expedition mode. I was like, ooh, God, that's a little, that's going to take some time. But it is compelling, it is channeling. It tells you a very mature story about grief, about love, about hope, about imagination, about accepting who you are, about acceptance itself. It's magical. And I love that we are in this age where I can get that kind of feeling when 30 years ago, when I first picked up my NES and I played Ninja Turtles, I was like, oh, Raphael, do Raphael. Or this one made me fall for so many different characters, see sides of myself in that, and see what the consequences of decision makings that I would make, even though it's not very big on decisions, but you have some stuff that you can do. And then just seeing how it play out, because if it was a book, it would work well as a book. I hope they never make it into a TV or anything like that, because you just couldn't. But it was special. It was special. I gave it 9.5. And I don't usually give things ratings until I beat them. That's the rule. But it's one of those things where, just how I felt about Death Stranding 1 and 2, I wish I can go back in time and play it again. To feel those raw even the point that pissed me off, to revisit that. I was listening to the soundtrack jogging today. I was rewatching the ending scenes and trying to get that meaning into it. And when something resonates to you, it's the same equivalent of the things that you remember of the best movies, like the end of The Godfather, where they close the door on Michael. Schindler's List, when you see everything is in black and white, and then you see the girl with the red ribbon, right? Or The Sandlot, when you see Hercules, because Andrew hasn't seen, not Andrew, but Francisco hasn't seen it, so we had to just flow that out there, right? Just to jab him a little bit, or even just you're never gonna watch it, but that's where I go from there. Or I think about Raging Bull, where Robert De Niro's Jake LaMotta just punches the wall, going crazy. There's just something about it that compels me. So Clair Obscure, Expedition 33, my non-sponsor, probably my game of the year. I love you, Control Resonant. You are pre-ordered. I don't know if you're going to touch it. Wolverine, we'll see. I actually think that'll just be a 7 instead of other people have to. Grand Theft Auto's not going to touch this. Yes, I would love to play as a big booty Latina, but LARPing, right? But I don't think it's going to get me, even though it's going to be played out as a hot modern day, Bonnie and Clyde, you can tell. Netflix, are you that desperate to show that? That's a different story for a different day. We can talk about that August 27th to see if it was worth it. But this was a great investment of my time. It looked good on Ramona. It sounded great on Jolene. And it made me, it was a pleasure to play. It was a pleasure to play. So yeah, Clair Score Exhibition 33. My non-sponsor and promo code. Tomorrow comes.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, Andrew, what you got?
So my non-sponsor is the airline that I flew to get to and from Montgomery.
An airline? That is rare.
My non-sponsor is Delta.
Okay. Alrighty.
Delta, very comfy seats. Flight attendants were very nice. In full disclosure, I did fly first class, not because I feel that I am fancy, but because I am a bit of a larger individual, and those are the wider seats up in first class, so I took those. Quite lovely, and also surprisingly pretty cheap if you're flying to Montgomery. So yeah, if you have to do a layover, it's going to a small city. It's actually pretty cheap.
They're based out of Atlanta, so they service that whole South.
Seats were cushy. They had TVs, which I didn't use because they were both very short flights. Orlando to Atlanta is about an hour. Atlanta to Montgomery is about 30 minutes. Which, by the way, as someone who pretty much drives everywhere when he has to go out of town, it was nice to be able to sit back and relax and get to my destination, not completely, just absolutely destroyed. So, yeah, flying was a pleasure, surprisingly. One of my flights was on a Boeing. I did not die, which was a welcome surprise. The second one was on an Airbus, which I was a little more sure of. And so congrats to Boeing for not making a metal death trap for me to go into. And Delta was quite nice. I actually found out they have a kind of trading card system where they have cards of the various aircraft that they fly. You ask for it and they'll give you a card of whatever flight that you're taking or whatever plane you're flying on. And I think they have 60 something or whatever. Some are limited editions, what have you. So I got one. I didn't know about the program on the other flights that I took. So if I take Delta again, I will probably use those, probably try to collect more of those. And yeah, it was a fun experience. And I haven't flown in 11 years, as I was telling the guys. I average a flight once every about 12 years. The first flight I ever took in my life, I was 13 years old. Then the second flight I ever took in my life was 12 years later in 2015. And now this is 11 years later. So average 13, 12, and 11 out in about 12 years. So I'm hoping that I don't have to wait another 12 years to fly, at which point I will be 46 years old. I'm hoping it'll be a little more recent, especially a little more soon, especially if the flying experience was anything like this one. Also, I am thinking I do need to get a Delta or whatever MasterCard so I can start using that Sky Club because that looks very fascinating. So, yeah, Delta is my non-sponsor. Promo code plain trading cards. I don't know. Or better yet, Hartsfield is gigantic. Didn't die. That's a good one. Didn't die. Okay, so promo code didn't die.
Yeah.
Didn't die on Delta to add to the alliteration.
Okay. Alrighty. So I'm going to try and make mine quick because we have less than 5 minutes. But mine is fairly simple. It's another video game this time. It's Splatoon Raiders.
Oh, God.
Ooh.
All right. I may not have done enough of a service for Charles, but he was already on the fence for this game anyways, just because of the premise and look, I'm a Splatoonophile, that's for sure. I've played every game in the series, and Charles can attest to that. I've gotten all the DLC in the series as well, every single DLC pack that's ever come out for these games I have for the single player mode, and this game itself also is essentially a single player experience that can be multiplayer if you feel like it. So it has all the makings of what was DLC, I think, planned out for Splatoon 3, that they realized, hey, we could flesh this out a little bit more, have a little bit of a like a little appetizer before we release Splatoon 4 on the Switch 2. And then we can kind of go for it from there. So I think that's the flavor of this. But I love Splatoon, and ultimately I played the heck out of this game. So much so that I beat it over the course of one weekend. I devoured it like crack, and much like a lot of these Nintendo releases where I've been waiting for them for so long, when they come out and they have and I just love the gameplay loop, I'll just play through it very, very quickly, and that's what I did here. It has a fairly good enough challenge for me. I'm still playing it past the main storyline, and I'm sure there's one more little bit true ending that I'm trying to get to right now. You can call upon other people to help you, so just various different missions where you're just raiding the islands for loot and everything. It's Charles is akin it to Borderlands as well. But ultimately, it's just playing with the Splatoon control scheme in a different way in a single-player scenario, and it's essentially Salmon Run, that mode from Splatoon 2 and 3, just a little more fleshed out for everybody, but just it's not really all PvE, and you're not in a small area being inundated with the salmonids. But ultimately, it still holds up as far as the gameplay is concerned. I don't know how much of it is going to translate to Splatoon 4. They do have different gadgets that you can use with the different controls, so maybe that might be, and you can have the secondary weapon and maybe another sidearm. That could be something they could do in Splatoon 4. But besides that, I don't really know much more what they'll do from here. But I enjoyed it. It has a lot of challenges, and you can play it on super hard if you feel like it. And ultimately, you can play with friends or randos, however you'd like. So, Splatoon Raiders, and that's it for me. Promo code WOOMI. All right, guys. So we're last minute, so we don't really have much left to talk about. But that's it for me. I don't know if you guys have anything more.
Nope.
Oh, all right then.
Nope, not really.
All right, so that's it for me, and that's it for you guys. So peace out. See ya.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.